academia isn't my whole world anymore. I have so many options and I just can't choose what's best for me. I think I have a confusing relationship with financial privilege. Am I robbing myself of experiences by not investing in things that I'm interested in? Alright, y'all. It's been a hot minute. Okay, do I look fabulous with my hair down? Don't say. I know I look fabulous. You know when you finish your midterm week or your exam week and you've been like grinding it out and just studying 24/7 and really putting your whole focus and energy into this one thing, and then suddenly you finish all your midterms, you finish all your exams, and it's just like a whole lot of free time for the next 2 or 3 days. This is a reoccurring pattern where I feel extremely sad and overwhelmed with how much nothing there is to do, to the point where I start doubting other aspects of my life as well because I now don't have a distraction. This was what was happening for the last week. I was just feeling really blue and under the weather. I think it doesn't help that the weather's also changing and I haven't been going outside for the whole week because I was studying. And I also threw myself off of my routine because I had the reading week, which I'm really grateful for. But before I had this routine where every single day I would go to Zumba class, I would make sure I get at least 1 hour of exercise in, I would eat well, the best that I could, and I just had routine of stuff I had to do throughout the week that wasn't just school. School is not my passion and I need to have stuff outside of school to kind of reset my brain and give my brain a rest. I'm kind of at that stage of my academic journey where I'm thinking, do I want to continue pursuing a master's? Currently I'm volunteering at the lab where I get to see the environment where master's students work and kind of what they're doing on a lab research setting. The longer that I've volunteered at the lab, the more I kind of realize that maybe this isn't what I want to do at this stage of my life, and maybe, you know, if I want to do this, I could always come back to it in the future. But I think I want to do something else that is more fulfilling for me. Currently, the only experience I have that is really fulfilling for me is teaching at the summer camp. I'm getting emotional because every time I think about my kids, I cry a little bit because I love them so much and I miss them so much. I would love to be a teacher, I think. I still haven't had that much experience with teaching kids. I've only had that 2 months and like all the volunteer experience that I've had. And I was on Reddit, which isn't a super credible source, searching up how competitive it is to get into teachers college. And tell me why it's so much more competitive than I thought. Like, I should have known because, you know, everyone says teachers have really good perks. You know, they're looking at your grades and then they're looking at how much experience you have. I know that I can get experience if I really look into places where I could volunteer at, and there's a lot of volunteering experience at my school that lets me get experience working with kids. But I think the GPA part is so hard because the thing about university is that if you spend a lot of time focusing on your studies, then you're sacrificing the time for something else. And I know that to keep a healthy balance for myself, I need to do certain things in a day. For example, my 1 hour Zumba, which is kind of more like 2 hours because I've got to rest a little bit before that and then rest a little after that. I have to sleep at a certain time and I can't really study for the whole day like non-stop the way I used to in high school because I know that it would just make me feel really bad afterwards. I am not as academically smart. I don't know how to say it. I am not as academically intelligent as I used to be in high school. And you can make the argument that in high school, like, the content was just easier. It was just easier to brute force and memorize everything. And you didn't have so many things to worry about. Like, now I'm living by myself, so I have to worry about that. I have to cook for myself. I'm commuting to school. I don't have my parents and a direct support system for me. But inside, I know that my level of academic competency, I don't know if that's a term, has just actually went down because now I forgot how to study in ways that work for me. I'm still figuring that out now that I'm trying more. I manage my time more well now in terms of allocating time for studies and allocating time for myself that I need to keep my mental health healthy. But the time that I do use to study, I don't think that I'm using it to its potential. And I think I have a harder time now sitting myself down and just studying like the way that I used to back in high school. I think I had a lot more discipline because my only goal in life back then was to get into a really good school and a really good program, and that was my whole life. Now that I've gotten older, academia isn't my whole world anymore, and I think that just makes studying in general harder because now I have other things that I really care about, such as like volunteering or talking to my friends or going to events, and those things take time too. So now, my brain, instead of 90% of it thinking about school, it's only like 40% or 50% of it, and the other parts are like divvied up to all the other things that I find fulfilling in my life as well. I wish so bad that I was an academic weapon and was able to study non-stop without sacrificing all of these other aspects in my life that give me so much joy as well. Still figuring out how to do that, and it's pretty discouraging when I'm studying really hard and I'm not getting the results I want. But I have to keep reminding myself that if I keep putting the work in and I keep trying, the trend should go up. The trend should produce better grades over time, but I'm still just in that bit where my grades are kind of not where I want them to be. Recently, my friend has been asking me to go play badminton with her, which I actually am so grateful for because it forces me to get out of the house early, to eat earlier, and to have a little bit of movement in the beginning of the day, which does actually make my day so much better, I think. Even though I'm sweaty when I get to school, hopefully no one can smell that I put on deodorant, I promise. With all these events and also aligning with my desire to be a teacher, the common denominator that I am realizing is that I just love being around people and nourishing relationships. This morning, I saw my bus go. I missed my bus, so I was like, well, I'll just walk to school. It was already halfway through my first class, so I just decided not to go. And so I was studying in the library, and I just couldn't stop the tears from pooling down my face. I just had no direction in life. It's so significant for me to have things to look forward to and to have my time contribute to something that have meaning to me. And because I was so lost, I was feeling so overwhelmed, I thought, let me just try going to the mental health site at my school to see if they have any resources, because the worst that could happen is that they'll tell me they don't have anything, which is the same as not going, but there is a chance that they have something for me. And so I walked to the health clinic and I asked her if they had anything. She was really nice. She was like, do you want a room to just sit? I was just looking for anything at that point, so I said yeah. And then she gave me an empty room. She gave me this little card, which was really nice of her, that had telephone numbers of services where you could just call and talk to somebody. I called this telephone service and they said I was next in line, but oh my gosh, I was waiting for 30 minutes. And by the time 30 minutes was up, that was when my class was starting. So I didn't even get to talk to anyone, but I think having someone show that they care about me, even though they're a stranger, and providing me with options and resources made me feel less alone. And I just felt more courage and more sure of myself after that. I went to class. It was really nice because even though I couldn't focus in class, I was doing something that was like kind of productive. But also at the end of the class, my friend asked me if I was still sick. I was sounding stuffy and I was like, no. I just cried before I came to class because I'm just having a really hard week. I was kind of joking about it when I said it. She didn't make fun of me, and she just said to let her know if I needed any mental health resources because she was on the mental health committee. In that moment, I was kind of defensive and I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I just visited the mental health clinic. Looking back, and right after I left that classroom, I was actually really grateful she offered resources for me. And I'm really grateful that mental health isn't brushed under the table anymore, that people are taking it seriously. The third thing that really helped was I decided to go to my one class that only is once a week, and it's like I don't even know, I think it's like 3 hours long, because the prof decided that instead of having 2 1.5 hour long lessons, he wanted to do 1 3 hour long class. I don't know a single student who could focus for 3 hours in a row. My one friend in that class, she saves me a spot, super sweet. I haven't seen her in like 3 weeks because last week I didn't go to that class, I was feeling sick. The week before that was reading week. The week before that was the midterm. I get to that class, we chat a little bit, the class happens, 3 hours goes by. After that class, she is so sweet because she walks with me to the bus stop even though the bus stop is on the other side of the campus to where her residence is. I think she's just like so cute because she's so small and she's so young. She tells me about her residence's Halloween plans and it's like the cutest thing ever. They make like a cobwebby theme for their floor. She tells me about her costume, which is like a polite scare because it says excuse me but boo, and I just think it's so cute and it cheers me up that there's just spirit in the air. She asked me how I was and I kind of tell her that I went to London, which honestly it was so magical. I love London so much. It's beautiful there. And you know, you feel so high when you go somewhere that just meets all of the life requirements that you value. Like for me, I love London because it's so walkable. The public transit is so convenient and there's just like greenery everywhere, even in the city. But when I came back to Canada, it was like a crash because, well, first I was jet lagged. Second, I came back to my midterms. And third, I'm missing all of the beauty that I valued in London that Canada just did not have. I felt extra low and I didn't really know how to cope with that. But me just telling her and saying it out loud, I think, made me feel better. I don't really know why, but saying things out loud makes the situation feel more manageable. The last thing was that one of my friends who I used to practice badminton with, she reached out to me to ask if I was feeling better because I told her I was sick and I couldn't go out with her. And her just reaching out to me meant so much. It really shows that we have community and that we have connection and that we as humans do care for each other, even though it might not necessarily benefit the other person to look out for me. I'm just so grateful for the people that I have in my life who extend their kindness to me. Oh yeah, and one more thing that I forgot to mention before was that I had a meeting with my group mates for this project that we were working on. It was online and you know, we were like working on the group project, but also they were talking about their lives, and one of them showed us his dog and the other one showed us her snake, and they saw my computer background even though I didn't minimize the tabs. Maybe it's like when you're switching between tabs, it shows a glimpse of your computer background, and that gave me the chance to talk about a photo of me and my partner sitting on a bobcat the summer before university, and it just reminded me of good memories. And that whole meeting was so awesome because it just reminded me that people have lives and interests outside of school and work, which brings me so much joy because not my whole identity and not everyone's whole identity is tied to what they do professionally or academically, and that we all have interests and hobbies and pursuits outside of what society thinks we should spend all our time on. I went into that meeting thinking that I was gonna have to apologize to my group members because I haven't been really pulling my weight. Their positive energy bouncing off of them to me and then me reciprocating that positive energy really made me feel so much better and felt so supported because we were all willing to just help each other and come to a consensus together and just work together. Right after that, I get a WhatsApp message from this group that that has not been active, but one of the girls was saying that she was working on this French piece where she has to list some French song artists, and she was asking us if we remember any. And so one of the other girls in that group sent French artists that she remembers, and then I replied and sent some YouTube links. When I sent those songs, of course I also put my AirPods in and listened. One of the songs that I love so much that used to make me cry every time I heard it live at my French immersion program was Le Bear song. I don't even know what the song is about, but every time I listen to it, I cry because it's so beautiful. It was so nostalgic. I don't think I've ever felt nostalgia that strong before, and it made me realize that the reason why I have such fond memories of my French immersion was because I really felt like I had a solid community there and that I was part of so much love and so much connection and so much community. I really miss all the people there, and I really miss living life so simply. I am not overwhelmed with choice. I think I get super overwhelmed when I feel like I have so many options and I just can't choose what's best for me. This is a really privileged thing for me to say, and I understand that I have a lot of privilege to have so much choice in what I can do with my time. But decision fatigue is a real thing, and it does negatively affect me. Usually when I choose what the right thing is what society expects of me and what it deems as the most productive and useful thing to spend my time on. That doesn't necessarily always align with what I find joy in or what suits me, but I tend to choose it because if society thinks it's a good option, usually there's a reason why. Whereas when I was in Nova Scotia, my only obligations were going to French class. I was able to hang out with my friends. I was able to go on walks all the time. I was almost always never on my phone. Makes such a huge difference. And I love that the air was cold and crisp. And I love the smell of the sea. And I love just how simple everything is. And I really miss that. And it's hard for me to say because I understand that I have so much privilege to be able to have so many options and so many things to do. But it does get overwhelming really quick. And it's hard for me to live a simple life because then I feel like I'm not using my resources to its potential. It's really hard to just tell myself that the decision that makes me happiest is the best decision. I am so concerned with finances, it makes it really hard to live a simpler life because I feel like I have to rack up the numbers in my bank account. This year, since the summer, I've been on quite a few trips. I went to Peru with my school for a week and a half. Then I stayed an extra week and a half with my friends to explore. Before that, I went 5 weeks in Nova Scotia for French immersion. I can't believe it's actually 5 weeks, like it went by so quick. And then after that, during reading week, I went to London, UK. I like to brand myself as someone who loves to travel and loves to see the world, but I'm reflecting that maybe I don't like that as much as I think I do. What I value more are the relationships I make with people that I meet from different cultures. Especially when I went to Peru and we were able to interact with the people from the rural communities. Even though I don't speak Spanish, us sharing a meal and us playing soccer, those are the parts that stick with me and the parts that I think bring me so much value and joy in my life. Don't get me wrong, like Peru is a beautiful country. Like we went to Machu Picchu, we did all the ancient ruins and all that kind of stuff. But the parts that I remember that bring me the most joy are when talking, trying my best to talk to the people and just getting to know them. And when I think of Nova Scotia, I think of my friends, especially I think of my teacher who I love so dearly. And I just think of like community, how everyone's super nice. And when I went to London with my friend from grade school, we went to some really nice and neat places that are honestly beautiful, but I think I remember the trip by our conversations, how much I got to know her because we haven't had that many opportunities to talk. I'm just having a moment and thinking about how wonderful our world is. I know that I value community a lot, but I don't think I understand just how much I value it. I think I'm still looking for ways to find community and joy at my work or in my academics. Let's talk about privilege. I think I have a confusing relationship with financial privilege because I never thought that I would be able to visit the UK until I had like a stable job and was taking like paid time off to go travel. But out on a whim, my friend and I were just like, let's go to the UK, let's go to London. And so we did. We just bought the plane tickets, and it doesn't feel real because I just never thought I would give myself the freedom to spend the money to go see the UK. But I'm really glad I did because I think it has changed my life, even just a little bit, because I'm still processing my thoughts and feelings. I was very tired on that trip. What my mom said was right, that the money that you spend now to invest in something is so worth it. And I always have a hard time justifying spending a lot of money. I feel really bad about this when we went to London, but every time we would eat, I would always look at the prices. Bless her heart, she's so accommodating. She just went with it. Sometimes I think, am I robbing myself of experiences by not investing in things that I'm interested in? But I think there's also beauty in being frugal, because I am able to find ways to invest in stuff that I'm interested in with really low expenses, and I somehow find that super satisfying and rewarding. Maybe it means I have to work a little harder, but the results I get align with my values. And I find that I indirectly live a more simple life because I don't spend too much money on stuff. The thing that I always come back to is that I think I am happier when I live a simpler life, when I have fewer decisions, when I'm kind of more down to earth, and just when I do things that don't require a lot of equipment. For example, I really love walking. I definitely prefer walking over going to the gym, just because I feel like there's a lot of equipment at the gym and a lot of people also, and I don't like having a machine tell me how fast I run or how much I can do something. Even something as simple as food. If I have fewer choices, it's easier for my day to get started because I don't have to make the decision of what I want to eat that day. Me owning a lot of things just makes me feel uneasy, because I always feel like I have something to use, whereas if I own nothing, then I really have to think, do I really need this thing? And if I don't buy it, then I don't have to think about having it, if that makes sense. Maybe what I need to do is to try to live a month simply, where I do a capsule wardrobe, where I only own the stuff that I use all the time, where I don't have games on my phone, I limit my social media time. I would love that life, because then it would force me to interact with people more, and that's what makes me so happy. I also really miss my parents. This year I did 8 months of working, and while I was working I was living with my parents, and I think I was actually really happy. I really like living with my parents, and I'm really grateful that they visit a lot more now, because my brother is also studying in the city, so when they come they can visit the both of us. I miss them so much, because I see them all the time, and I realize that I do love them so much, and that I wish I could spend more time with them. Maybe when I graduate, I think it would be nice actually to move back in with my parents. It would be fun. It would be slay, and I have something to look forward to my graduation actually. Just feeling grateful. I wanted to talk about it. Okay, see y'all next time.